expert. Who's that guy in that orange shirt? Who must be the fence expert? It's almost time to talk about the fences. It's time to discuss operations and expenses. It's time, it's really time to elevate small businesses. It's time for Joe to drop his knowledge. It's relentless. This rhyme of mine is getting a bit ridiculous. So here we go. We're live with Joe. Enjoy the show.
What is up, Fence fam? So glad to be back with you guys again, virtually, as it were. It's always good to see you guys. Hope everyone had a successful week. Hope we're rounding up a incredible year. I think for most everybody, it's been a pretty solid one. If you read the description, you know exactly who today's guest is. The one, the only, Caleb Roth. Caleb, how are you today?
Good, Joe. Good morning.
Good morning to you. We said it before the interview, but I got to tell you, I'm liking this new studio.
Well, you just see a little background on it, but yeah, it's coming along.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know where to put the camera. I don't know if it needs to go way back or where.
No, that's good. That's a good look. Well, hey, Caleb, first and foremost, thank you. I appreciate you guys and your family and your company sponsoring this live Q&A every week. It means a lot to us, and I'm sure it means a lot to the audience. So thank you.
No, I'm happy to be here, man. So excited.
Absolutely. Guys, if you're listening on the podcast, what you're listening to is a pre-recorded version of a live conversation I have almost every Saturday, where we talk about fencing and fencing-related content. Today's interview is no different. If you like listening to the show, leave us a review. They say that is a good thing. 5 stars if you like it, sort of thing. If you guys are watching live, let us know you're here by dropping a comment in the dropping it. I always wonder why they say that. Dropping a comment in the comments below. That sounds a bit redundant, but leave us a comment. There you go. Probably that one. But Caleb, how are things in your neck of the world?
Busy. Just like everybody else, I think, busy getting ready. Everything has got to be done before Christmas. It seems like we always have it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we've been disappointing people for probably the last 3 weeks that really want to fence by Christmas.
Yeah. Well, for us, it just comes down to the weather. We can get a lot of stuff done if the weather cooperates. So,
that's true. That's true. For us, it's like the schedule's set. I understand. So this one lady I was talking to was very upset because they were getting their kids a puppy for Christmas. Mm-hmm. As a fence guy, I love this idea so much. Everyone but my family should get a puppy for Christmas. Absolutely. They're good for fences. But she was telling me they're getting a puppy for Christmas. Like, well, I'm sorry, but the people that are on the schedule got there a couple of weeks ago. So we can't bump them because you guys got a puppy. And in my mind, I thought about now it was in my assistant principal's office. So this tells you maybe how often I was there, but there's a sign that said something to the effect of a lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part. And in these conversations, I always come back to that. I'd love to help you, but I could have helped you 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, that's the story of everything. We want it now. You just got to look out. If Amazon ever starts building fences, though, you're going to have to start moving people to the front of the line.
Yeah. Well, listen, are you a Prime member? Well, then good news, sir. We have Prime spots available for you.
You can have it by tomorrow.
God, I can't. I was going to say I can't imagine that day, but never say never. I mean, who envisioned now? It's different, but who envisioned Google going into a local service like promotion? So I never say never. I mean, I'm sure there will be a day.
Our day will come. Yep.
Let's say hello to a few people real quick. You know this fellow. What's up, Roger? Who doesn't enjoy Q&A with Caleb?
Oh, sure.
Agreed. Tyler the Gamer. He's new to the channel, but he is active in the channel. So good morning, Caleb. How are you today? I'm a new viewer on the channel, so welcome me in.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Tyler. Front Rock Fences. Listen, you were already towards the top of my list, sir. You are now that much higher. How do oranges communicate with one another? They speak Mandarin, of course. And I've seen this joke a different way too, where it's like, why couldn't the two oranges communicate? And like, well, one was Mandarin. I love a good orange joke. You put those in the comments, I absolutely will read them. I promise. All right. We know this guy also. Justin, how are you, sir? Again, actual photo of Justin, I think, in the thumbnail there.
Yeah, that was when he was right after his bulk,
Yeah, absolutely. We provided 323 turkeys for Thanksgiving to soldiers in Kansas, Iowa, South Dakota, and Nebraska. Holy cow. Thank you for everyone's support and donations. Agreed. Justin, I need to get you my email address. So Justin sent me a message about this on Messenger. And guys, I'm not super active on Messenger, so I saw it way too late. But get with me next year. I'd love to be able to help with this. Justin has a question for you, Caleb. He's getting right to the meat and potatoes of the conversation. Is there a schedule of what's happening at Stain and Seal University event, February 8th and 9th, 2024?
I don't want to talk about it.
No. Okay.
Of course, there's a schedule. It's different though. Different than before. We'll let you in on it in a little bit.
Okay. Very good. So let's talk about Stain and Seal University 2024. We had a link in the first comment. Mark, why don't you go ahead and drop a link again so the people that haven't registered can register.
Yeah, he's on the ball.
There we go. So So what for someone that hasn't attended Stadium University, can we give like a 30,000-foot view? What is it? What happens there?
Well, a long time ago, I was a fence guy and I wanted to make more money because I didn't make very much money being a salesman for a fence company, family business. We didn't really know how to do the business. We didn't have our margins right. So there just wasn't a lot of money to go around.
Sure.
And a voice from above told me I was going to stay in fences to make that difference in money up. And I listened to that voice. And some of you can imagine who that was that was talking to me. And so started staining, and it changed my life, made my life better, and made it so my wife could come home from work, give me lots of gray hair over the years, but it's been a good ride. So I just figured if the stain business was good for me, that it would probably be good for some other people too. So I am passionate about helping people get better at business so that they can be better for their family and provide a future and security for the next generation. And the only way I know how to do it is through the staining business. So we just have Staining University to do that. And basically, you come down to Nashville; it's free, and we teach you as much as we can. The high level topics. The big stuff. As much as we can squeeze into a 2-day period.
Sure.
And we bring in other experts, and we squeeze them for all they're worth too. And that's pretty much it, man. We just want to get you down, show you the business, show you the opportunity, show you the basic fundamentals. And then we figure that we're not, part of it has to be just like getting your toe wet, because if you really become interested in something, then you will learn. You will seek the knowledge. Seek and you shall find, right? And so we want to open the door, let you peek inside, let you see what the opportunity is, let you see what's there, what it could be like. But the rest is kind of up to you. So we kind of make it real easy for you to figure it out. Maybe this is something you want to do to see what it would be like. And then we provide other resources along the way in other ways so that you can get a deeper education on what you're doing. And our goal is that a bunch of people come to the show, and hopefully it could change their life or make some kind of impact for them some way.
Well, absolutely. And you guys, how long have you guys been doing these, Caleb?
I think this will be the 5th year.
That sounds right. So I think I came in I think I attended year 2 maybe. So that sounds right. Probably 4 years.
I think 2019 was the first year we did it. I'm pretty sure.
Well, no, because 2020 was a virtual event, wasn't it? Or no. 21 was a virtual event, because 20 would have been right before everything cut loose.
I don't think we canceled it in 2021. I can't remember.
Okay.
I think we thought about it, and then we did it anyways.
Okay.
Because I remember being worried that the county was going to shut us down, but they didn't. Yeah. So
for some reason, I thought there was a virtual year.
We did a virtual event in December of 2022.
That's right. I'm getting all these confused.
The extra one, and then we've done a bunch of them, in Canada and Pennsylvania, St. Louis,
on site. Yeah.
Brickfield.
Yep.
Done them all up.
Well, I say that to say, we see some of the same people year on year, and in talking with them, they're like, I didn't. And there's always a handful of these guys that say every year I haven't gotten into it yet. I want to see what it is. But then it's neat to see them in subsequent years saying, yeah, man, I'm doing this part-time on the weekends when I have time. And then the following year now I scaled back my full-time job to part-time, and I do this also part-time. And then, taking the leap, stepping into it full-time. I think there's a few guys that we've been following over the last several years that are just about there. And that's fun to watch.
It's fun. My wife corrects me and says 2017, but I would argue that. I don't think that's correct.
For quite a while.
We'll find out when she'll straighten me out, right?
Yeah. Listen, I know your wife. She'll have all the supporting documentation.
Yeah, she will have a file on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, absolutely. But the point is, you guys have been doing these for so long. We get to see people that kind of throughout their journey. Right. And I think that's one of the things that I think is really special about this event is it's obviously practical application. Here's how you apply this thing. Here's some things to think about. Here, get your hands dirty, you spray it so you can get a feel for how thick it needs to be. And how do you handle like a shadow box? How do you get behind this and over that? But then also there's a ton of just how to run the business. right? Because we see in fencing, we see guys that are great at one area. They're great at building fence, but then they try to transition that into a business, start their own company. And that's usually where things kind of fall apart over the next several years. Is running a business is a lot different than doing the trade.
Yeah.
Right? So you specifically, Caleb, spend a good amount of time saying, here's how you run a business. Here's some things you need to think about. Mandy comes up, talks about, hey, here's how we bid jobs. No numbers involved, but here's what we think about. Here's how we measure. Here's kind of how we calculate square footage and how much stain will cover a square foot, that sort of thing. You really walk people through the business side as well, how to be successful, both practically with applying the same, but also behind the scenes in the office.
It's fun, man. I really like it. And the older I get, the more I so this event is obviously, you can't do the college algebra level thing and
Sure.
the basic math in the same event.
Yeah.
So I always struggle with that every year. I have this feeling like we're doing the same thing over and over. So we got to change it up. But it's very much the fundamentals are what works. The basics are what works. So I think that's important. I've been down a path the last few years on more business side of things, like strategic planning and just hiring great people and things like that. And so I like to share that stuff.
Yeah.
So we sprinkle it all in, along the way.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, obviously I enjoy attending year after year, but I think so this event is great for guys and gals, either anywhere from thinking about it, haven't really pulled the trigger yet, through to guys like Justin that come every year. Obviously, Justin is absolutely killing it in the staining game. But I think he would tell you he gets little nuggets every year because it's hearing something not for the first time, but the first time that it resonates. But it's also just meeting people. It's also the networking that happens in between speakers and after hours sort of thing as well.
Yeah, man, it's the way it is. It's you learn when you're around people who are bringing stuff to the table. So that's what we like. That's what we do. I'm not used to this big light in my face in this new place. There's spots out here in front of me.
Yeah. It takes some getting used to. It's like staring off center on the sun, basically.
Yeah.
Like I always think we should wear sunscreen.
Yeah, I feel like maybe I'm looking like I'm losing my mind here.
No. Say hello to a few more people. Michael Greenfield. Caleb, do you know Michael? Have you met Michael?
Where's he from?
Yeah, Mid-America. So he's in St. Louis. Next time we're at FinSec here in a month, I'll introduce you guys. Great guy.
Cool.
Great guy. What's up, Michael? Clint. Hello, Clint. How are you? Clint with NAFCA. So I always struggle. I want to say it's IMS, but then I immediately second guess myself as soon as I'm getting ready to say that. I just know him as NAFCA Clint. That's how I know him.
Clint's the nicest guy in America.
That is absolutely the truth.
That's so nice, man.
That is absolutely the truth. No, we had a great time. So Clint and I last saw each other at the NAFCA service event there in Arlington. We'd built some fence there at the National Cemetery. And we had a little bit of we had a day of business talk as well. So always good getting into those. Pro Wash, Missouri. What's up, fellas? Good morning, fellas. Good morning, Pro Wash. Robert Evers. Is it Evers or Evers? I think it's Evers. Robert, good morning.
It might be Evas.
It could really be anything. I need to just commit to saying something, whether it's right, wrong, or different.
If you say it with enough authority, they might begin to question it themselves.
You know what? Why do we say it this way? Yeah. Pro Wash, great question. Is there going to be an event in Springfield, Missouri this year? Well, the events typically were in November, so it's a no for this year. Everything was up in the air this year, just as far as scheduling goes, and as far as our schedule goes here, we weren't able to pull it together. Justin says we're doing another turkey drive for Christmas if you want it. Absolutely. All donations are welcome. $1 to whatever one can afford to give. Absolutely. Justin, we're in. Ozark Fence is in. I want to make sure we make this happen. Oh, here we go. Yeah. First university was in 2017. No offense, Caleb, but I'm going to defer to Ashley on this one. Just
I'm not afraid to die on a hill, so.
Justin says, going into my 10th year of being in business as a sustaining company, I look forward to the event every year. Highly recommend. Absolutely. We were expecting number 3.
No, that automatically suspect because there's a lot of extra hormones and things going through women when they're expecting. So I don't know if we can trust this information or not.
Can we, is this like live where you can press a button and it rewinds everything just to save Caleb when he goes home? That's not a comment that we want out there. Nathan Downs, what's up, Nathan? So Protecting Your Radius podcast. If you guys listen to podcasts, you should absolutely check them out. Actually, they're on YouTube too. So no matter how you consume content, you should check them out. If we have a desire to grow, we have a desire to go to the next big event and learn. Listen to that. Nathan, I like that a lot. Absolutely.
Oh, that coffee's good this morning.
Justin says, nuggets every time I attend. When I implement those nuggets, I see immediate results in growth. 100% recommend attending. Absolutely. And this is the point is there's always like little things to take away, but Caleb, you hit on it earlier. It's a free event. Now it's free to attend, right? Like you still need to get yourself there and find a place to stay, that sort of thing. But the cost to attend is $0. And it has been from the beginning. Why is that?
Well, because I can tell you why. Because around me, everyone always told me, "Man, what you have is great. You need to sell this. You need to do something to monetize this information, this knowledge, because that's what everybody was doing, courses and all that." And they said, "We can build it for you. We can do all these things." And I didn't feel right about it. It just bothered me. I couldn't figure it out. And then also I saw this extreme level for me for it to be something I would want to pay for. It would have to be an extreme level of the level of it would just have to be high, right? It'd have to be some really good information. And I just decided, you know what, I'm going to do it for free. And when I decided that, it was like the weight of the world came off my shoulders, and it gave me complete freedom to do whatever I wanted with it. So yes, it is free because I want it to be free. Why should we have to pay for knowledge in the age of free knowledge?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing is for quite a while, it's been courses and coaching. Like that's where everyone kind of flocks to is courses and coaching.
Well, most of the time, the people that are selling courses and coaching may or may not have a very good track record or pedigree. And what I find is the people that typically do have the really, really good pedigree are generally they're too busy running their business to spend a whole lot of time creating courses and things like that. But when they do give you something, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I think another point to this too, keeping it free is I don't know that you would see the same faces year on year. If there was a fee attached to it, I think there would be a little bit of, well, I paid last year, I went last year, maybe I skip this year and go next year. And keeping it free also keeps a lot of those regular attendees in the seats. And like I said, a tremendous amount of value comes from between speakers and after hours of the events, just networking with those people. So I think you would probably end up losing value by not having those people attend regularly also.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. The pronunciation was accurate. It's Imes. Okay. Now we know how to pronounce this one. Jeremy, how are you? Hope everyone is having a great weekend. Andrew, I'm not even going to try it. I hit the brakes on the last name. Andrew, good morning.
That's easy.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's easy.
Okay. What is it?
It's Esquibel. It's easy.
Yeah. Okay. It put my brain in a knot for a second, but as soon as you said that, it deciphered it. Yeah. Andrew, good morning. Have a great weekend from West Texas, Stain and Restoration. Very good. Very good. Hey, Jesse's got a point, and this should definitely be talked about at some meeting somewhere. I wish they had a stain category for stain for the pro awards at FinStech. I think that's a fair topic.
Yeah.
I think that's a good topic for conversation. With FinSec around the corner, there's going to be plenty of people to talk about it with. Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. I mean, it's just a part of the fencing industry as a lot of other things you see. Okay. Andrew has pronounced the B as a V, and you got it.
Esquivel.
Esquivel.
I'm not so sure about that.
Andrew, would you mind providing your sources for this, please?
I've got one for you. You know, Mandy was a school teacher, and she had a student in her class whose name was L-A. Guess what that is?
Oh, Ladasha.
Ladasha.
I know this because Jackson has some names in his class, like in his kindergarten as a whole. So when we're cutting these pickets, we write their names on them and their height.
Yeah.
And there were a few on this spreadsheet. I was like, this is, and I emailed like, this is the spelling.
Did you have
an immediate, yeah.
Did you have a Ladasha in your class?
No. My daughter, so my oldest daughter had one. Let's see, she had a girl or a boy, is in a preschool class named Dagum. And when you read the spelling, it is Dagum.
Hey, I'll tell you a funny story. I've got a daughter named Nora, my youngest. She's 3. And my wife says dadgummit. Sometimes you mash your finger, dadgummit.
Yeah.
And one day Nora does something, and she goes, Nora Gummit. And so, so she's thinking that my wife's cussing me the entire time. Dadgummit.
Oh, that's funny. That's too good.
Yeah.
We could have a whole episode on kids say the darndest things. Like it's
probably should do a TV show, you know, it would probably make a good show.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Now, here's the thing about Nora. If you guys ever get the chance to be around Nora, hold on to your cookies or whatever you've got, because I have learned this lesson the hard way. She still owes me a cookie, and I know this. I will remember that. But so, State University coming up February. It's outside of Nashville. Yes. Where is it located?
How about I give you the lowdown? All right.
You got
Staining University, February 8th and 9th, 2024, right outside of Nashville, about 50 miles outside of Nashville. We are in a little town called Alexandria, and this is the town where we live, where most of our people live here within 5-10 minutes of here. And this is the town that our plant is in, that I'm sitting in right now. And so we just we used to do the show in a bigger city, but we decided to bring it to the small town because it's a small town and we want to support our city. There's a lot of people, restaurants and things like that, and it's a pretty good risk to take when you try to do things like that in a very, very, very small town with about 800 people in it. So support our town. The event is 2 days. It's Thursday and Friday. We pray for good weather. We usually don't get good weather, but we do pray for it. And this year we're capping it. So the problem is we're getting bigger than we can handle. You know, if we advertised it like we did last year, we would anticipate 500 attendees this year. And our venue won't handle 500 attendees. And we're not an event company, you know, we're just not. We're a small service business. We're a small manufacturing company, and we're not in the venue and event business. So we decided to cap it. We're going to put a cap on the number of attendees, and we're going to, instead of, teaching the same class 100 times, we're not going to do it that way. We're going to teach each class once. And so hopefully have a little bit smaller size, still be substantial in size, but it'll be a little bit smaller. We're going to do the classes once, but we're going to do them a little more substantially. And the problem is, you have 150, you have 3 or 4 classes with 100 people in them, and 2 people do the hands-on, and so that's the problem. Everybody wants hands-on training, and then 2 people do it, or if you get 5 people to do it, 2 people volunteered, and the other 3, we had to drag them out of the crowd and make them do it.
Sure.
So we're just gonna make the class size bigger, and we're gonna go for it. We're gonna do a little bit bigger hands-on projects. We're going to do fence. We're going to do wood restoration, which is cleaning fences, decks, log homes, whatever. We're going to do fence staining, deck staining. We're going to do pre-staining. We're going to have an expo center that's open pretty much all the time, but there'll be designated time for the expos, 2 hours a day. And we're going to do some marketing stuff, if you'd be so kind to speak. We'll also have a guy coming up who teaches some pretty high-level business stuff, and he's in the wood care industry as well. We're going to have a class, so that's going to be business stuff. We're going to do our 101, where we kind of give you the in and out of the business and how the business is, the opportunity, and how to start it. I may or may not have said it. We're going to be using the pre-stain machine, so we will have a segment so people can come out and check out the machine. And we'll have in the expo, we'll have stain products. We'll have the stain poles that are out now, the eye spray poles. We'll probably have a booth for those guys. We'll have a booth for the gopher wood pre-stained lumber. If you can't stain, don't want to do it, have a booth for that, and you can find a dealer for that around you. And I don't know who else, but we may have a few other booths. And I know our service business, Stain and Seal Experts, will have a booth there. We'll be trying to recruit people to come and.
I love that.
There'll be a bunch of fun stuff going on there, but basically gonna learn a lot of really good solid basics. We'll learn some business and some strategic planning thing. We'll have some great Q&A with people that have been in the business a long time, and make a lot of friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's the thing. And then just have, like I said, a tremendous amount of conversations between speakers and after hours. It's when you put those two things together, the structured learning. And I think that's one of the things we learned with one of the Springfield events was you leave time in between structured learning just for those kind of conversations to happen organically. And it's we can join those two together. It's great.
Yeah, and we're going to be like from 9 to 3 on structured time. It'll probably start at 7:30, 8 o'clock, but 9 to 3, and then that gives with a 2-hour lunch or an hour and a half lunch window for eating and the expo. So we're leaving lots of open time to do the thing that you want to do, and walk around and meet and greet, and eat barbecue, check out cool stuff.
Are you guys bringing the 1,000-gallon drum again?
I don't know. I think we put it like 26 feet up on a rack yesterday in the warehouse, and they strapped it down and all this. So I don't know if we want to get it back down, but yeah, we probably will.
It's there. Very good. Very good. You guys will be attending FinStech?
Oh yeah, we'll have a booth
right in your backyard.
Yeah, we've been at FinStech for many years. The last 2 years we've been a bronze sponsor, so we're proud to be a bronze sponsor of FinStech, and hopefully being in our own backyard will be lots of fun.
Absolutely. I can't wait. It's coming up. Probably that's right around the corner. We're about a month away from that. We're about a month away from that. And that means we're about a month and a half away from State University. They're kind of back to back this year.
Yeah. It's going to be fun times.
I was looking at the calendar. The way my brain works is like when I flip to the new month on the calendar, my brain just thinks that's like an entirely new month. And I just put it together that FinStech is literally right there with State University. There you are. Like this is it's gonna be a busy few weeks. But
we had a good time, so they figured they'd schedule theirs right next to ours.
Absolutely. It's it'll be a good time. It'll be a really good time. Justin wants to know, are we doing a after meeting dinner, and do I need to start gathering steaks? Fair question.
Yeah, I don't know. Haven't really thought about it.
Yeah, it was. It's always a good time getting everybody together. Absolutely, and those steaks were phenomenal. They were really good. Absolutely. Let's talk about staining in the wintertime. So I'll ask you the question a lot of our customers ask. So when do you guys start staining again?
Really?
Like after the winter?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of water-based coatings, and even some solvent type coatings, can't be applied below 40 or 50 degrees. And if you do apply them below that temperature, they can crack. They can look like a desert. The 1,000 cracks run across it. So, which would be a failure. And would require redoing. With oil-based stains, though, that penetrate, that are non-drying, they tend to be able to be used in any temperature. So, our stains are used like all the way from the sign that says "Welcome to the Arctic Circle" all the way down, into the southern hemisphere. So you can use it pretty much anywhere in any temperature. So that means if it's 20 degrees outside, it doesn't really matter. It will go into the wood. It actually, what we notice in the wintertime is because there's a lot less humidity that the wood will actually soak the stain up even a little better in the winter than it does in the summertime. So
Interesting.
but we're still moving, man. We're still rocking and rolling. We may have guys out today staining. I don't know if they're staining or cleaning. Yeah, we try to get it as much as we can. Guarantee you there's guys out there staining with our product today somewhere. Before Christmas
I mean, if it's dry this time of year, there's guys staining. Absolutely. Yep. So, and I think that's the point I'm glad you made, was that was one of the things we appreciate about the product, is that we can go stain whenever. If it's dry, as long as the product has the correct moisture content, no matter what, we can go stain. Now, we do have to take into consideration, comfort concerns and all that. I mean, we're not going out in zero, but we're also not restricted to, whatever the restrictions may be, 50 or below or 45 below, whatever temperature restrictions might be out there. There are none for this product.
Well, the thing is sometimes, and I've been here, sometimes you got to make your house payment. Sometimes if you want Santa Claus to come, you might need to stain that deck. And so if it's 110 degrees, you need to be able to stain. If it's 25 degrees, you need to be able to stain. We used to do videos and a lot of videos when I was on the tools a lot more. And I would make videos. Hey, it's 26 degrees. Here's the thermometer. You can see it. It's 26. We're staining this deck. It looks great.
Yeah.
There was a reason I was out there. Is because I was hungry, right? So
sure.
Lots of guys wear those shoes and they're willing to get out and make it happen. And so you need a product that will go to work with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and the other side of that conversation about wintertime work is, that's absolutely the benefit of pre-staining as well, right? Mm-hmm. That you can do it in a controlled environment. That's one of the ways we make work in the wintertime. So, knock on wood, luckily we haven't had, many major weather events lately, but in the last couple of years, but, in the event that we are closed for the field work. So our general rule, and everyone's different, I'm sure, but our rule is if school is closed, we don't send the trucks out to the field. So just if they don't want to put it, and so they test this by, do they want to put a school bus on the road? And they'll drive a school bus at like 4 a.m. around the roads, or they'll look at the upcoming forecast and decide. But that's usually it, is do we want to put a bus on the road? If they don't feel comfortable, they'll call school. So my thought is, if they don't want to put a bus on the road with kids on it, I don't want to put a truck on the road with those kids' parents in it. Yeah, it stands to reason that road conditions aren't going to be good for whatever reason. But to your point, I also understand 'tis the season. Like Santa's right around the corner, and in January, Santa just came by. So
it can be cold without snow. It can be cold without ice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But that's one of the ways that a fence company could continue to operate, or a staining company can continue to operate in really bad weather, whether it rain, sleet, or just temperature. Is pre-staining is a great option for that, because in our shop, it can be 60 degrees and dry no matter what it is outside.
Oh, and I think that's why it's so important. I don't know. Some fence companies are going to stain, but let's be real. Like 98% of fence companies are not staining. They're just not going to do it because they're focused on their fence business. So, in my opinion, a fence company is partners with their material supplier. They're partners with the subcontractors who build their fences or install their gates or whatever for them. They need to also partner with a good staining contractor, because a staining contractor will complete that service. You can just refer them, or you can subcontract them out and become partners with them, and you can grow your footprint, grow your business, put food on other people's table, and give a more complete service to your customer, and have a fence that looks better and lasts longer. So I think it's so important for us to get together. Having been a fence contractor and having been a stain contractor, both, we're the same people. We're just people. So I think we ought to be friends, work together. And the thing of it is, if you want to get real, a lot of stain companies want to tell fence guys, you need to start staining. You need to start staining. Well, it may not be the best thing. If you're trying to grow a fence company, you may not need to do staining. You may need to have just a good subcontractor that can do it for you, or you may need to get pre-stained lumber, and there's people that can provide that for you as well.
Yeah.
And so, I think figuring out what the main thing is and sticking with it, but not being afraid to partner with people, because you don't have to do everything, right?
Right.
If you guys are making a 50% margin on building fence, but you can make a 38% margin with a subcontractor and remove all risk and liability on the road, who's making better money? I mean, so there's something to look at there. So, so my goal is to try to, have friends in the fence business, and then have all the staining guys, and I can put you guys together. I know the people, and I can bring you together and make that bond.
Yep.
So that's
and I think you might find companies that do a bit of a hybrid. So I was just thinking about our scenario. So we stained in the past, and I'll tell you what happened was the COVID era happened, right? And so we saw our workforce get reduced, and we had to make some choices. Like, well, we are a fence first company that also stains, so this workforce needs to build fence. That's what we're known primarily for. But so we met a gentleman at the staining event in Springfield that was from the Springfield area, that all he did was stain, and all he wanted to do was stain. So I said, hey, guess what? We've got people that want stuff stained, but we still pre-stain, right? So we have shop guys that they'll build gates, or they'll cut pickets, or they'll just kind of our utility players, or just team members that also they'll pre-stain. So that's actually what we did most of this week. We've got a 700 or 800 foot job coming up next week. So sent them to stain 2x4s and pickets this week. And, but for on-site staining, we refer that out because it's absolutely a different skill set. Pre-dipping and staining on site is two different worlds. Same realm, but two different worlds.
Yep.
So for fence guys out there that are listening, that pre-staining is actually a really easy way to get into staining, and it's a way that you can get your fence guys into staining. It's staining on site is absolutely a learned skill. You need to spend time on training and proper prep procedures and everything. But with pre-stain, you kind of take some of that risk out of it as well.
Oh, and I grew up in the fence business, and I'm here to tell you, staining is way easier than building fence. And I know a lot of guys who stain for a living might argue and say, man, this is hard work. And I'm just going to tell you, dude, it's not even close. I mean, building fence in Middle Tennessee is hard work.
Yeah.
Staining's easy. So a lot of times, if you do have downtime with your fence crews, then you can put them on staining and get them some real training. They'll probably, they may like it because it's easy.
Well, here's the dangerous part, Caleb. They might not want to go build fence anymore. We had a few guys that were like that. They're like, hey, could we just only stain? I just want to do this. Like, well, actually, we don't have enough stain work to only do this. Like, okay, but when we do, can I just be on the stain van? Can I just only do stain? We don't have to dig any holes. Like, that is the best part of the day.
And buckets have handles, instead of carry them up there.
Right. And they're not that bad. A 5-gallon bucket, you carry 2 of them with handles. Good day. But now, and I absolutely, there is prep work, and that's probably the part that the guys probably like the least is all the prep work.
You got to be a little detailed.
Yeah. But there are worse things in the world than prepping for stain.
Hire you a good painter. He'll show you how to mask. It's easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Billy Grove, what's going on, Joe? Not much. What's going on, Billy? Good to see you in the chat. KDM asked about a 20-hour question. What is the best way to grow my fence company? I'm going to tell you it's marketing and user-generated content, which just means grabbing your phone, documenting, if a fence company, right? So documenting your work, documenting your process, putting it out on social media, which is free. You've likely already got a smartphone on your person that has resolution that is way better than the first camera I was using. And it's built, you have editing software built into this thing. You don't even have to, it's pretty slick. So film yourself, film create your own content with work you're doing, and just listen. I had a show, go figure, for Ozark Fence for several years. That was Ask a Fence Guy Friday. I had just bought the business for my dad. We were wanting to grow. We had some pretty big growth goals, and I said to do that, we needed to find more work, and to do that, We need to get our name out there. So we did Ask a Fence Guy Friday, where I just sat in front. Actually, I would put my phone on a tripod, camera's facing me, and I would just sit there and answer fencing related questions for a while. And for the first 3 months, it was just my mom in there, like, "Hey, Joe, looks good." And then she would act like she wasn't my mom. So she'd be like, "What's the difference between buying cedar materials and pine materials?"
She's reading the list you gave her.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, Mom, people see your name. They know. I think they're going to put this together. That let's just have a conversation instead of like trying to play like the educated consumer. But
I like that, man. I think the best way to grow your fence company is to show zero profit, to make no profit.
Well,
yeah. Do you guys remember Amazon back in the day?
Oh yeah.
Zero profits.
But they poured it all back in.
They didn't make zero profit. They pumped it all back in.
Mm-hmm.
I think I see a lot of guys trying to grow their business, and they got 16 brand new trucks, and they got a boat and a 7,000 square foot house, and they've been in business 3 years. Their wife's got the new Bentley or BMW or whatever in the driveway, and and they're wearing like 3 Rolexes, a different one every day, and like life is good, right? And you're like, "What do you do?" I'm a fence guy, and they're doing all this crazy stuff. And then when things get slow or get bad, they don't have that foundation under them to make it work. So the practice that I follow is to invest back into your business. And so instead of buying a lot of stuff, I would invest in business, like back into infrastructure in your business. And then the number one thing would be hiring the best in the world. If you could hire the best person in the world in the fence business, it wouldn't matter what they cost, right?
Yep.
And that's for any business, I think. So I think investing back in the business and getting the best people money can buy would be the fastest way you could grow your business. Because if you brought the right person in on day one like that, you might be a $4 million company overnight just by having that experience brought into your company. So I think that's a big deal, man.
That's a great point. I think a lot of people, in turn, when I say value their business, I don't mean like actual valuation, but people value their business on cash flow instead of profits. I think cash flow is it's easy to see a full bank account, but not take into consideration the long-term payables that might be in there and just all the ancillary costs that come with running a business. A lot of guys just see the cash flow like, "Hey, we made 6 figures this month." Well, you didn't make you brought in 6 figures, but you didn't make 6 figures. So I think that's where a lot of those houses and watches and trucks come from, is they get just used to turning over that cash flow. Like, "Hey, I've got money to support this," until the cash flow slows down, which I think is a situation a lot of guys are getting into right now.
That's why this time of year, especially 2 weeks after Christmas, is the best time of the year to buy bobcats, trucks, boats, whatever, tools. It's the best time of year to buy it because people, they blow all this money on it, and then they don't have anything there to support it when times get lean. So
yep,
be that guy.
Well,
and if you got cool stuff for sale cheap, let Joe know. We're always looking for a good boat or something, right?
not right now.
No boat for me.
No boats. I got friends with boats.
I'd like to have a
boat. Those are the best kind of boats, or friends' boats for sure. Like, I'll pay for gas 100%. Fill her up on me. I just don't want to have to take care of it the rest of the year. Like, let's take the kids out. Let's take them tubing. Let's have the best day. And then I get to go home, and I don't have to winterize it, and I don't have to clean it, and I don't have to insure it. The best boat ever is your friend's boat for sure. Andrew says it's snowing in Amarillo, and we still got jobs for the rest of the month. Agreed. Yeah, it's so what we're noticing, and this is Southwest Missouri, what we're noticing is call volume has absolutely fallen off after about Halloween or so. Call volume has it's not nothing, but it's a small percentage of what it was. But we're still seeing jobs convert or leads convert to jobs, right? Yeah. So our calendar's booked out. We're about towards the end of January right now. Just fewer calls, but a much higher percentage of those calls are actually converting to sales. So that is the metric I watch the most, is weeks in production. How many weeks of production do we have scheduled right now? That's kind of that's one of the things I keep my thumb on. Just, hey, how do we need to increase marketing? Do we need to do this? Do we need more weeks of production deployed?
That's important because you're talking about something that I get every week, and that's a week from every department. I get a weekly report. So what's the report you're getting? What does that report look like?
Well, and I'll be honest, that's something that we need to probably implement is like a structured reporting program or procedure. I usually just check in with everyone. Like, hey, what's the schedule look like? Which actually on residential is something that I'm still involved in. But like, I'll check in with my dad. How many weeks of production do you have? Like, and him and my sister handle commercial, and my sister also handles materials. But anyway, I'll check in with him. Commercial is always different because those projects for residential, when I schedule my projects, unless weather happens, it's happening. Like the homeowner's ready for it. It's ready to go. When we show up, they're ready to have a fence. Commercial is a completely different world. You know, it's, well, I got a phone call. They're not ready for us next week. We got to push this a couple of weeks, but I've got a phone call from this other contractor. He really needs to push us up. So I'm going to swap those. Weeks of production are always a bit, iffy on commercial. We have this many weeks of work booked, but we don't know if when it's going in. We know about when it's going in, but we don't. You can't say I'm going to be there January the 8th. Anyway.
I'll tell you the report that I get. So for service, so I don't run our service business. I've got some really great people that are way better than me running that. And so what I ask from them is I look at P&Ls, and then I also look at a report. Every Friday I get a report that runs from Friday to Thursday. So when I get the report on Friday, it's from the following Friday to the Thursday the night before. And so what I want to know is I want to know the scheduling date. So how many weeks of work do we have out? And the scheduling date helps me not only know what cash flow is going to look like, but it helps me to know if somebody calls me on the phone and says, hey, Caleb, I got your phone number from my buddy. I want you to stain my house or my fence or whatever. When can you do it? And I say, well, we're scheduling this time. I'll put you in touch with somebody who can help you. So the current scheduling date, and then I look at number of bids sent and number of bids, bids that were closed, number of jobs completed, and then the current amount of uncompleted jobs. How much money do I have kind of coming in cash flow? Probably an AR line item would be a good one to have on your report too. I don't have AR here because I look at it at a different report, but my service department, they stay on top of the money. Yeah. So they generally, once the job's done, they get paid. So it's a handy thing.
Yeah. So and I think I like your way of having a structured report. I think that's something that we need to work towards. I usually do weekly check-ins where so Holly handles our accounting. So she'll come in Fridays at 10 and we'll sit down, or she comes into my office Fridays at 10. We sit down and say, okay, what receivables are out there? Which ones do I need to, which ones need my attention? Is there somebody that needs a phone call from me that she's called a few times? Also, what's the ratio of receivables to payables? I just like to know kind of where are we right now financially, and then average days to pay. I like to watch that. So that one, I think, gives me an idea how our local economy is doing. I think if you see average days to pay start stretching out, one, we need to look at our collection methods. But two, does that mean that there's less cash available in our local market than before? I don't know, but
it's good, man. We get these things. Every department that we have will send us a report. We get it from manufacturing. We get it from our shipping and receiving. We get it from finance department. We're going to get it from sales. We're going to get it from service. It's just part of it. And we've got a pre-stain division now too. And they send me a report. It's a much smaller report because it's a new division, but we're still doing it. And then I like to see below that in that email too. So they usually do that in a spreadsheet. So it's constantly there. I look at daily sales reports too, based on sales this year, this date, this year versus last year, this date. And then we tally it all up and I can see the percentage of growth. And then I highlight certain days that are over a certain revenue number. We'll get, different colored greens. I've got 5 or 6 different greens. So if it's over, what we consider a good day, it'll be highlighted. And then in the email when they send, I just want a little 1, 2, maybe 3 sentence summary of what's going on, in that department. and that really helps get that communication rhythm, and makes you a lot more intelligent about what's going on inside the walls of your business.
I like that. And then also you have that to look back on too. If you're
Mm-hmm.
kind of documenting it along the way.
Having data, you start, I used to think that I wasn't, well, I'm not a numbers person. I don't want that. But the more, and I always just made decisions based on gut feeling. But now what I've found is that the more I want all the information, I want all the numbers, all the metrics, and I look at them, I pay close attention to them, but I don't really worry about them. But I do know that when I make the gut decision, I do have that information inside of me of what's going on to pull on, so I can make a more informed or better gut decision on where we are with the business.
I like that. I like that a lot. Is this stuff that we'll probably cover at a high level at Staining University?
If the question is asked,
yeah, I would. I always think, like, if it's a question I have, if I would like, because hearing you talk about this, I was like, I need to talk to him more about this.
You gotta, but you gotta have people to do it. If it's just you,
sure,
it's probably a good idea for you to do it for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the best time to start, is when because then when there's no one doing it, it's just you know your procedures, you document them. Yeah. So then when someone comes in, you can say, hey, here's the report. Here's what's in the report. Here's how I compile the data within the report. I'm going to hand this procedure to you, or checklist, or whatever it is.
If you do a good job, you can make these reports automatic. Like, so we have like an e-commerce brand too. And
mm-hmm.
I get a report every Friday of, how many customers we had that were new customers, how many repeat customers, et cetera, and we get these reports, and eventually the reports just come in automatically. At first you may have to say, hey, just a reminder. And then I'll send out reminders no matter what for a while, but then eventually you no longer have to remind. The report's just there like clockwork.
It just shows up.
And then if you're good at it and you got good people, a lot of times they can make these automated. So a lot of the data you want is automatic. Like, your system that you're using already contains this information. And if you learn how to build automation, which I don't know how to do, I know how to ask nicely to have someone else do it. Once the automation's built, those reports just stream into you and you can see them. And then if you get somebody who's really good, they can build you a dashboard and you can see every division of your company, all of it there, so
in real time or near real time
too. So,
hey, we've got some questions on pre-stain. I think this is a good conversation to stay in. Justin says, pre-stain is such an amazing tool to bring into your business, whether you're a fence builder or a staining business. Use off season to meet with builders and build relationships and educate. I couldn't agree more. Or, so also what we've talked about before is retailers, wholesalers. Mm-hmm. Like, if you are a fence supply shop, pre-stain is a great product to offer. We'll get to the comment here in a little bit, but there's people that are asking for this, right? There's fence contractors asking for pre-stain material to offer to their customers. Billy wants to hit on pre-stain color choices. I know a good amount of the stain colors are formulated for older fences and decks. Well, Caleb, let's toss it up. So are there colors that are more common in pre-stain than on-site staining?
Well, generally speaking, if you're talking in production numbers, like when you got to get the job done, like a lot of it in a factory operation, you're going to want something that's going to dry quickly. You're going to want something that's not going to be too heavily pigmented because it's got to go back in a bundle. So for us, you're looking at kind of like these transparent to semi-transparent colors. And I'm always going to push it in the middle, where's the middle? Everything's backwards. In these semi-transparent colors.
Yep.
Because these dry quickly. They're not going to really rub off on you. If if you did gray or something that's got a ton of pigment, gray is probably going to take forever to dry. So I would recommend being in one of these ranges.
Yeah.
We can always do the custom stuff over here in the grays and stuff like that. But if you get doing stuff too crazy, it just slows your dry time down, and maybe you need dry racks. The little pre-stain machine that we sell works really great for these colors because you can do it on the job site. And so you don't have to worry about the drying and the extra time. You could do this greenish gray eucalyptus color. You could stain the boards and then put it right up on the fence, and you don't have to wait. But if you're trying to do it in the warehouse and get it done quickly, I would always recommend for one of the browns. The big companies like Sherwin-Williams and Benjamin Moore, they always do these advertisements for like the color of the year, stain color of the year. and they're like the number one stain color of the year for 2023 was this color. And then if you actually look at the real numbers, it's like cedar tone.
Yeah.
Cedar tone sold more than, 1 billion units. And then this gray sold 200,000 units. And,
they were just wanting to push that one.
Marketing department may be a little bit, on an island there, but the browns are always going to be your most popular stuff.
So for us, we offer 3 choices. Now we have access to all of them, obviously, but 3 choices: cedar, chestnut, and walnut are the 3 for us. And Caleb and I have talked about it. I got outvoted on the cedar or on the chestnut. I like pecan. I love pecan so much, but okay. So cedar, chestnut, walnut. Why those 3? We have a light, a medium, and a dark brown. All brown, and so they'll apply well. Caleb, to your point, the walnut's a little heavier pigmented, and we don't do a lot of it. But sometimes, I mean, if you're looking at a house and there's dark tones everywhere, walnut's going to be it, right? Or if they have these, if they have some really nice timbers, for whatever reason, they always want, at least in our area, they always want big chunky timbers and dark colors. So we'll look at a house and say, you know what? I think walnut would be a good choice here. Now, 8 times out of 10, the customer doesn't have a preference. They're like, I don't know. What do you think? I love chestnut. I like it right down the middle. Of those 3, chestnut, well, we've got an order on with you guys right now for some drums, I think 3 drums of chestnut. So we go through a lot of it. But it's a good middle of the road. And it's what, on our cedar boards, it looks really nice. But so if you had one person, in my opinion, one guy's opinion, well, my opinion would probably be pecan. But as a company, our opinion is chestnut. We like chestnut a lot.
We've got it all stacked up out here right now. Chestnut,
yeah.
Color, yep.
It's, if you ask a consumer, like, look at this color chart and pick which one looks, which one of these would you want in your backyard? I think chestnut has got to be consistently there. It's a nice medium brown. It doesn't look painted. Like walnut is really dark. It is, but that's the look some people want. But a lot of people want a natural look, just a preserved look. We do some cedar though. Some people want it just to look as if it's been clear coated, and so for that we'll put cedar stain on cedar pickets, and it kind of brings out the. For us, we've noticed it brings out kind of the reds and browns in the cedar picket, but. Yeah, so 3 we like having 3 options. And this is like a psychological thing, right? People want 3 choices typically. It's why when we're offering fence estimates, we offer them 3 choices. And you can, hey, listen, think of this as if it's a good, better, best. I can offer you a good entrance fence. I can also offer you an improved, and I can offer you the fully upgraded. It's going to be pine on pine. No warranty. We're going to build it great, but no material warranty at all. It has a workmanship warranty. Or we can upgrade those pickets and rails to cedar. Or for the fully upgraded, we can upgrade your post to steel. And those are your options. And most everyone goes with option 2 or 3.
That's the way it goes.
Absolutely. Justin says, just came back from Colorado Springs, helping a couple of businesses learn about staining and PREPA procedures. They stained a deck, and I helped a little, but they did an amazing job. It's not that hard. There you go. Good job, Justin, spreading the good word. Johnny asked, what jigs do you use to properly install pickets? I saw the video. How you didn't recommend using a string line? Yeah. Listen, Johnny, this is a whole conversation, and there are going to be people that they'll only use string lines, and that's fine. If that's how you learned, then that's how you learned.
I'm just going to be real with you, man. I mean, the internet may be full of guys using jigs, but the world's full of people using string lines. So,
so one thing, I think there's more. I think there's more chance of error. There's a higher margin of error on string lines than there are jigs. I think especially if you're training new guys.
I think that may be so, but again, you get somebody good with a string line. If they've been taught, it's pretty easy.
Yeah. We still use a jig. Just it's like I said, lower margin of error. But this is the thing, right? So this is the epitome is two different. You'll get two different opinions. You'll get listen. If you ask 12 fence guys, you'll get eight opinions.
I think it's no different than like chain link, like commercial chain link wire ties. Back in the day, man. Look, like guys can't do it now, but back in the day, these guys were taking these big 6-gauge chain link wire ties, and they were twisting 5,000 foot a day, and they were just rocking and rolling on it. Now we use a drill, and now nobody can twist the ties, because, and so people would say, well, which one's better or which one's faster? It's like, well, you take a guy from 1983 twisting them by hand, he's probably faster than the drill, but today the drill's probably faster. So I guess we're just evolving.
Yeah. So to the question, what jigs do we use? So we weld up our own. We use aluminum jigs just because they're lighter. So we'll weld those up. I'll say this. So Mr. Fence they sell a pre-made jig. I think it's a slick tool. I understand there's people out there that have different opinions on, like I said, really anything about buying tools versus building tools.
Does it make your fence look choppy?
No. So not if you follow a grade. I mean, you got to adjust it, right? So you got to adjust for flow, but no, it typically doesn't, because everyone's process is different, but we establish the top line with our top 2x4s. Mm-hmm. So the jig really rides on that top 2x4 as it flows over.
And how are you laying out your top 2x4 with a string line?
So no. So they'll measure.
I'll scratch you there.
No, I know, but they don't. So the top 2x4, it's done by eye. So our foreman will step back while the guys are. I mean, he'll mark all the posts at the measurement, and then he'll have guys hold 2x4s and up, down as they go through. And then there's a jig that sits on the top 2x4 that holds the middle and the bottom. So then he can have one guy go through there and rail all of them, and then he'll follow with the jig that sits on that top 2x4 and goes.
Nice.
But yeah, check out Mr. Fence Tools. I think Sean's doing good things for the industry. I think his tools are good for guys that don't have the time or ability to make their own. Making All Things New says, my Black Friday is a week before New Year and a week after New Year. Huge discounts on tools and equipment from businesses who overextend themselves.
Yeah.
Yep. I think so. For whatever reason, there seems to be a trend. So guys figure out that a lot of their personal property tax is assessed on what you own January 1. So they usually like to sell it by the end of the year, so they don't pay property tax on it the following year. And then they'll go buy new stuff after first of the year. But so right around now, we start seeing tools and equipment come on.
Gotta be more expensive than paying the tax, though.
That's kind of is it worth the effort? Like that. Tax is not that for us in Missouri. Personal property tax is not that bad.
We don't, in Tennessee, we don't have personal property tax.
That's nice. That would be nice. But I say that for all the things we have. So now for us, personal property tax is all the office equipment. Down to phones, computers, etc. It's vehicles
on contents. Oh man. Tennessee.
Yeah, businesses do.
We are free.
So, and then of course, vehicles, equipment, and all that. Now, it's a bit on the honor system. So you are going to tell them.
Those offices, send us a picture of your office. It's like an empty chair in it.
No, here's the thing: is I want it to be fairly accurate, because I don't want, as times get lean. Tax collectors are going to get a little bit more aggressive, right? They got to fill these budgets somehow. So I don't want anyone from the city or county to stop by and go, "Oh, that's weird. You said you've got 2 computers in this office, and I'm at the front door and I count 4. That's odd. Let me see what you got." So we keep it, and here's the point: we keep it fairly accurate, because I think for contents and all that, I think our tax bill was like $3,000. So I'm not going to tempt fate by trying to whittle that down.
$3,000 is still, it's a shame.
I don't disagree. I mean, it's funny. The older you get, the more you understand the taxation is theft type thing. It's like, I I can relate with that movement. Candace says, I don't know what I missed, but if it hasn't been addressed yet, here's a soft pitch. With the market turning more towards pre-stain, do you guys think we'll see pre-stain boards becoming more available for us to purchase already stained and ready to install? Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cannon, I'm going to tell you that this is an opportunity, right? So Cannon's a guy that he's looking towards growth. He's got the growth mindset, but he's also, he's a facilitator for these ideas. So I saw you do this, Cannon, in vinyl gates, that sort of thing. I think you can set up a pre-stain operation and offer it in your local area for, in comparison with what you've already got, you've brought online, it's going to be probably less cost than what you've stood up already. I think it's a great opportunity. We sell a decent amount of pre-stained to fence guys in our area that just don't have the facilities, or they just don't want to. They want the easy solution because they're going to pass that cost on to their customers. So they say, well, give me a price. I'll mark it up, give it to my customers. And if they want it, you guys just stain the boards for me. They buy their boards from us anyway. So it's like, well, give me another day and I can dip them for you, and you can offer your customer an upgrade in pre-stain. So, but to your question, will they become more available for us in the marketplace? Absolutely. I don't see. There's always been manufacturers that I'm going to put this in air quote, offer pre-stain material. I say put it in air quotes because there's been a couple times before we were pre-dipping that I tried to buy pre-stain, and it was like, oh, well, they're out of stock. They'll be in stock in 4 weeks or 5 weeks or something. And like, well, at the time, like this job needs to go in 2 weeks. So we're not waiting 4 weeks. But I think so. Caleb, what do you think?
Well, man, I've put my money where my mouth is. We're doing it. We're trying to set distributors up everywhere for pre-stained lumber right now. So if you want to be a dealer for pre-stained lumber, call me.
There you go.
Got it. We want you to be able to turn around and make money on it and focus on what you do best, build fences. So
let's kind of sit here for a minute. So talking about your guys' pre-stain, can you talk about Gopher Wood for a little bit? Or would you like to talk about Gopher Wood for a little bit?
I hadn't planned on it, but
okay.
I can't. So we
apologies for that.
Yeah, so we started pre-staining several years ago, and we did quite a few jobs we did a couple Air Force bases, so pretty sizable jobs. Bought the big equipment to do it, and then we moved to a new facility and didn't have quite enough room for it, so we shut it down. And so I've been slowly, always knowing we were going to kick this back off again, taking my time, and the older I get, the more I'm focused on doing things right. So I think we've taken the time to get it right, but we're branding pre-stained lumber. We're producing it as a separate company from anything else we do.
Sure.
We're producing pre-stained lumber and then often offering the services to supply houses. So, our goal is to produce a great product that, the way we see it is about 2% of the fence industry uses stain, and about 90% of the fence industry uses wood fence pickets. So, how do we get more fences to be stained? Well, that's more fences need to be restained. And so a great way we can do that is by producing a good quality pre-stained lumber product. So that's what we're doing, coming to a town near you. So if you're a supplier or something, look us up. We're looking for distributors for it, and
sure.
Hopefully it'll grow like a weed.
Absolutely. For more information, who should somebody reach out to?
You can reach out to my office. I've moved Mandy out of service. She's heading that division up, so it's a good change for her.
Very good.
So, moving. We got truckloads on the ground, stained, ready to go. So if you want it, holler.
Nice. Caleb, Cannon's got a question directly for you. Caleb, me, Kristen, and Charlie are headed to Smyrna right now. How far is that from Sandhill Experts?
30 minutes. Come and see us.
Well, right down the road.
See the new place.
Justin said he's reached out to Menards this week about providing pre-stain, or reached out to him about providing pre-stain fence and decking boards. Have a scheduled appointment to discuss further with him about the idea, process, and materials to be used. Justin, one thing, just right off the bat, one thing my mind goes to is you're going to want to iron out payment details. Payment terms on something from a company like that could be a bit prolonged.
Menards has a reputation. When you go in, I have some friends with products in Menards. They have a reputation, so be careful. Yep. Justin's a big guy, though. He's a big guy.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, and do your own collections, and then that should work like a charm. Ken says we keep it simple. One color, chestnut. I like it.
That's the way I look at it. You can have any color you want as long as it's chestnut.
Nice. Yeah, you don't want to turn 5 minutes into an hour-long debate on which color is a perfect color. Absolutely. So usually by offering 3, like I said, people like choices. It's a psychological thing. You always want 3. It seemed like. So when you talk to people, how many bids are you getting? I'm getting 3 bids. How many? They always want 3, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're talking about choices, do you want a light, a medium, or a dark? My recommendation as a professional is I'd love to give you that medium color. But if you want light, we can do light. If you want dark, you can. So it feels like they have a choice, but it's a predetermined set of choices. I'm fine either way. But that's true. You can't have a long debate about which ones are best. We use a ton of pecan in central Missouri. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. So this is fair. So Cannon was saying you don't want to turn a 5-minute upsell into an hour-long debate on which color is perfect. That's fair. That is absolutely fair. So that's probably like a judge your client sort of thing. If it's somebody that you feel like you could get into a prolonged, then, and a lot of times we get into the 3 colors if they ask what colors are available. 9 times out of 10 or 8 times out of 10, they don't care. And so it's chestnut. Braden, what is up? Hey guys, hope everyone is doing well. Caleb, I just remembered I forgot to go look at your new studio. Braden is right down the road from you. Actually, Braden, we ought to hook up at FinTech. So we're going to be there here at the end of January. Have you guys over? Ken says you're going post to post. It follows the top row. Oh, so we're talking about following with a jig rather than with a string line. Same concept, different tool. KDM, this is a loaded. How do you get the best deals from your vendors? It depends on so it's usually relationships, right? It's just forming a relationship, figuring out who values relationships, maybe. And it's going to vary vendor to vendor, is my experience. Some of them are purely volume based. Some of them are relationship based.
I think you prove that you can do it before you go to hitting them too hard. Hey, give me a price. Here's where we are. And then make 2 or 3 big old huge orders. And then they go, oh, and then you come back to them and say, hey, maybe we need to discuss more of a market price for this.
Yeah.
I think, if your vendor's losing money or making nothing on it, like they're not going to give you good service. And then when you need something in a hurry, they're not going to get it to you because we're losing money on this. So you want it to be good for them and good for you. So I think just take care of your vendors, pay them quickly.
Yeah.
When the money's due, pay them. And if they give you a percent to pay early, pay them early. You build that relationship and that reputation, and there'll come a time you'll build that up enough to where they will bend over backwards for you if you need it.
I saw an interesting payment term: 1% net 10 or 1% 10 net 11.
Yeah.
So if you pay before 10 days, you can knock a percent off. Which you say, what's a percent? Well, a percent over the course of a year can really add up. But also net 11 means if you can pay us within 10 days, that's fine. If not, it's due in 11. Yeah. And for when I see those terms, so we manufacture chain link wire. When I see those terms, I'm like, oh, they are serious about paying me quickly. I take that off for a little bit. And here's a kind of a pro move on their part. They led with that. Here is our proposed order. Here are our proposed payment terms. Could you provide pricing?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And they also said, here's our projected annual volume. Okay. So now I know what we're looking at. I'm looking at a piece of this pie. This is their first order. It was a significant order. And here are the terms that we're proposing to pay to you. It's a good move. So here's what we buy in a year. Here's what I'd like my first order to look like. Here's how quickly I'd like to pay you. Can you please provide me pricing?
All those percentages add up.
Yeah. So Cannon's got a point here. Selling your assets at year end only raises your income and your tax liability. So that's a fair point. So they could be robbing Peter to pay Paul anyway. They could be selling stuff. So this comment was about selling it at the end of the year to avoid paying property tax based on what you owe January 1. But they're going to have to show it. They're likely going to have to show it as profit anyway. So they'll end up paying it one way or the other probably. Watch video of small business owners buying high dollar items and reasoning it with it's deductible. It's funny but true how many out there are running their business with this mindset. Well, here's the thing is I think those folks have seen this advice, and it's in the right scenario, it's decent advice. Like if you need to upgrade equipment, this could be the year. Or, but here's the thing is that's usually advice they're getting from hopefully from their tax professional or their financial advisor or whoever is knowledgeable in this arena. But yeah, I think a lot of guys are using that though to justify buying $100,000 trucks. Like, well, I needed a tax deduction. Like, I don't know.
You might. I mean, because you can take the depreciation, but people got to understand it. Like, if you're new in business, you probably really don't need it. You probably still need to buy the $10,000 truck.
Well, and so that's the thing. So, is it $100,000 truck that you're going to drive, or could it be two $50,000 trucks that you could put teams into that can then go generate revenue?
It's the same. I mean, from a tax perspective, it's the same.
It is.
It's got to be over a 6,000 pound GB gross weight, and then it's a depreciation, and it only really matters is if you got a big tax liability you're trying to that base tax basis on. So,
but my point is the tax advisor was probably telling them to put that money, one, claim the depreciation, bring it all forward to the current year, but put it in something that's going to generate you revenue, right? I don't think the advice is ever go buy $100,000 truck for you. I think the advice would be buy the $10,000 piece of, a tool that you've been wanting that could then, increase your productivity, a $40,000 mini skid that would increase productivity, buying assets that generate revenue, assets versus liabilities, right? So I think,
the airplane comes into play.
What's that?
That's where the airplane comes into play.
I know. One day.
Think how much change you could sell if you had an airplane. You could just get from meeting to meeting to meeting and get home for supper.
It's true. That's true. So we had a circuit judge come talk to us Thursday at this lunch group I'm in, and he's got a 182. He flies around and I was like, man, I'm jealous of him for a few reasons. One, he basically just told funny stories of stuff he had seen in his courtroom. But then also like, and you get to see all this crazy stuff and fly around. That is living the dream, my friend. Now,
sounds miserable.
And like a lot of circuit judges, he had a very successful private practice that continues to be successful, and he's a judge, and so living the dream. Justin says he's not afraid to break a leg or fingers when payments are overdue. There you go. The problem, well, anyway. Braden says, for sure, let me know when you're in town. Braden, I will be sending you a text directly after the show. Caleb, per usual, we're at about an hour and a half on a 1 hour show. So I appreciate you being so giving of your time. Is there anything we didn't cover? Is there anything we missed, maybe about Staining University or just staining in the wintertime in general?
Take this time and learn all the lessons. Sit down and figure out what your core customer is. If you don't know it, figure out what jobs you made money on, what jobs you spun your wheels, what jobs you lost on, and then say, hey, we made money on this type of job. We're really good at those. Let's do more of those jobs, and then base your next year on it. Sit down and plan your year for marketing. Sit down and plan your year for, each quarter. What are we going to do? What are the numbers? If you don't have a target for your sales team to hit January 1, what are they going to hit? Whatever the wind blows. So I think we need to take this time to prepare. It's a time to be with your family. It's a time you get time off, but it is also the blessing of this time is to take time and prepare for your following year, prepare for the battle that is about to come. So get your stuff together and get it figured out.
What's the saying? There's a saying out there that's something like luck is a combination of preparation and hard work.
Or the more you bleed on the mats, the less you bleed on the battlefield, right? So I think that's what we got to do, man. You got to take the time to get this right. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. You reap what you sow. So you got to sow today to reap tomorrow.
Yeah. So I've got a a year-end reset scheduled with a business coach and my leadership team on our department heads on the 13th, which is next Wednesday. And then on the 19th, I've got a quarterly planning session with the whole team for the first quarter of the year. So, man, we're putting our money where our mouth is. We're doing this stuff, and I think you guys should do it too. I recommend it. I highly recommend it. In my opinion, it's the best thing you can do for your family.
I love it. I love it. Caleb, thank you again.
Thanks for seeing us.
You're always willing to come on and spend a bunch of time with us. So I really appreciate that. I get a lot out of this. I know our viewers do as well.
It's a blast, man. Come see us.
If you'd like to see this in real time, be sure to register for St. University. Coming up about a month. Well, wait, a month and a half or so.
February 8th and 9th, yeah.
Yep, February 8th and 9th.
It's 60 days from today.
So 2 months from today.
Yep.
It's going to be here before you know it.
You got it.
Guys, I appreciate you watching. For now, Joe Everest, the fence expert, reminding you that good fences make good neighbors, and I'll see you next week.